Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Leo, obviously. I was just fucking around on Fanduel, making a couple dummy lineups, which ultimately led me to making a whole entire team of players that kind of intrigued me and I wanted to talk about specifically. As you can see, my baller almost $150 balance. Disclaimer, I am in no way, shape, or form telling you to play this lineup. However, if you do, and that shit hits, you better be asking for my Cash App in the comments. But on a serious note, let's just get right into it. Taysom Hill. I put Taysom Hill at the quarterback spot because he goes hand in hand with the previous point that I made in my last video as to why I do not usually pay up for quarterbacks, because he is the ninth priced quarterback on the slate, coming off a game where he threw the ball 37 times and he ran the ball 14. That's absurd volume. I'm not saying the passing attempts are going to be constant, because that was obviously an outlier, but still, the rushing attempts are there. The rushing touchdown threat is always there. You got to love that volume, and especially as the ninth overall priced quarterback, I'm taking it. That leads me to Mr. Wayne Gallman. Now, I know what you're thinking. The Arizona Cardinals are just going to jump ahead. Kyler Murray's going to throw to Hopkins, yada, yada, yada. What the hell's going on with this dial-up, man? I swear. Net zero. But, however, Wayne Gallman, good matchup. And the whole they're going to be trailing fear was the same last week with the Seahawks. And what did he do? Well, he only got 16 rushing attempts, but he took it for $135. If this guy gets in the end zone, we're going to be talking about how underrated a running back this guy is. Not to mention, he's pretty much the human physical embodiment of the number 15. He's pretty much averaging 15 points a game, Fanduel. 15 points a game the last 6 weeks, with scores of 13.5, 16.6, 18.5, 14.2. You get the drift. I don't know. I like it. Not only did he not increase in salary, I believe he got a decrease of $100, so it's hard not to like that. Zeke. If ever there was a game that Zeke Elliott will finally return to form as we know and love him. By the way, I don't know why my internet randomly keeps taking forever to pop these up, but nonetheless, if there was ever a game for this guy to show back up, this is it. Amazing matchup. He's going against the Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals. I know he's been trash the last couple of weeks, but I do believe this is a game the Cowboys are going to dominate. They're going to dictate the pace. If he scores a touchdown or if one of the receivers score a touchdown, doesn't matter. They're just going to start running even more. I really do believe this is the game that he reminds the world who the hell he is, and that he is a top running back. And also the price is super favorable. That leads me to can't guard Mike, Mr. Michael Thomas. I will note, obviously, makes a simple pairing with Taysom Hill. I will admit it's been a terrible start to his season, whether it was coming back from an injury to punching his teammate in the jaw to re-aggravating the injury to finally coming back looking off sync. Then Drew Brees goes down, trying to figure it out with Taysom Hill. However, the last 3 games, he's averaged around 10 targets, sneakily getting over 100 yards in 2 of them. Now, this is just like Wayne Gallman, where we say, if this guy scores a touchdown, he's what we're talking about. I mean, we're at least mentioning the fact that Michael Thomas is back, and I don't think enough people are talking about the fact that he looks pretty solid. I really like him this week, especially against the Eagles. If you want a visual for that to further validate that, does this look right to you? Look at the amount of wide receivers that are priced above this guy. If this were 2 years ago or a year ago, you'd be shitting yourself for that value. On another note, if you weren't paying attention to the Tennessee Titans last week, one Mr. Corey Davis, what did he do? Just a modest 12 targets, 11 receptions, 182 yards and a score. Now, I'm not saying he's going to replicate this output, but he is in an interesting matchup against the Jaguars, and he has shown a tendency to just blow up out of nowhere. Even in an offense that includes Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, he has shown slate breaking potential, or super slate beneficial potential if you had him, because half the time it was super low ownership. But certainly attractive. Even with the price increase, you got to keep an eye on that. That leads me to the man, the myth, the legend, T.Y. Hilton. The guy apparently everybody and their mother has been waiting for him to finally show up, show any remnants of the player that we used to know him as. Well, it appears in the last 2 weeks that's finally the case. The targets weren't there 2 weeks ago, but he still made it work with 80 yards and a touchdown. However, he was riddled with targets last week. 11, hauling in 8 of them for 110 yards and a touchdown. Makes a really good stack with Phillip Rivers, who's averaging about 38 attempts a game and 2 touchdowns. Against the Raiders, super favorable, especially at that price, and there is that chance that not everybody realizes that he's actually kind of coming back to life after such a slow start to the season. They might have already kind of written him off, so it's nice. And then there's this bad man who either made you really happy or really sad last week. And I have him in here because it's a point I want to make, especially at a week 10 tight end spot where everybody went Ferkser or Rudolph or straight to Waller. He was at such high ownership that he was pretty much the determination of whether you are cashing or not, because what was he, 30% ownership, which is like the cash line pretty much. What did he do? 17 targets, 13 receptions, 200 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns, nearly 40 points. And that's the thing about DFS, and the point I'm trying to make is what led you to believe that he was going to put up 40 points? This just proves the variance of this hobby. Was it the 4.3 points he put up last week? How about 3 weeks ago when he put up 5.2? I still like Darren Waller, however, but not nearly as much, and I'm certainly considering fading him altogether just because people might be trying to jump right back to the well. He is facing a tougher Indianapolis Colts defense. It's not the Jets, who are just going to let him apparently get whatever the fuck he wants. So yeah, I just wanted to make that point about how this works. AR-15. Mitch Trubisky, since regaining his job from Nick Foles, has averaged 40 attempts a game. I've already discussed in earlier videos the fixation that he has for Allen Robinson as far as target share. Allen Robinson's a monster. The point per dollar is there. It's one of the best on the slate as far as wide receivers. So yeah, production and his projection looks great against the Houston Texans. Easy, cheap stack with Trubisky, who I also really do kind of like, and I hate to admit it. And then I just threw in the Dallas Cowboys. They go against the Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals. Has a nice little correlation to Zeke, even though I'm not really building this lineup to play. Like I said, it wasn't to say, hey, play this lineup. But going up against a backup quarterback only increases the likelihood of a turnover, a mistake, and maybe they can put 6 points on the board. So that's just some things that were really intriguing to me, fucking around finally and kind of making some dummy lineups. Just kind of a follow-up also to the video that I made and posted a couple hours ago. So until next time, appreciate you guys who are sticking with it and tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying your night and getting some sleep and ready for some Thursday night football tomorrow. Let's get it. Peace out.